I figured since the recorder's not here, I would just go ahead and record it so we at least have some record of what's going on. And now that it got actually quiet, I didn't set up earlier because there were so many other people.
Yeah.
So I thought we wouldn't be able to hear anything from it, but now it's actually quieted down. So I thought at least while Ben's not here, I could just record it, and so we'd have some sort of record.
Great. Great. Thank you. So we have a volunteer AEC secretary.
I am like the board recorder, like that recorder, table recorder. So.
Video. And you're going to do paper instead of audio. Okay, thank you. So, and we sort of introduced you.
I'm Andy Eisen. I do civil disobedience on Tuesday nights for men at 2 a.m., which is industrial and paranoids and EBM and stuff like that, sometimes. And I've been on the board for the last several months, thanks to all of you. And also now I've been recording and streaming all the board meetings that go on, and I've been putting them up online. So the official technical or digital recorder, I guess, but not a secretary. I guess I'm looking at that report.
Okay. I'm Todd Durrell, and I host Bleecker Street on Thursday nights at 10 o'clock. And I'm planning a show at the end of September. Hoping to bring Ian Matthews here to town, hopefully here at the IMC. And I'm the one who did the Dolly Parton showcase last year for WEFT Associate.
I am the other Todd, and Todd Hunter, and on Monday nights I host the show that is split into web sessions with Mike, Local 901, and Todd Stackcastle.
I'm Dwayne Raymer, visiting community member, former board member from Raleigh, so thanks for having me.
I'm Al Kurtz, Big Al. Big Al's Community Chat every second and fourth Wednesday. My next guest will be the chair of the Champaign County Board, Betsy Petrie, coming on. And I'm also vice chair of the Prairie Air Board.
I'm Vicki Nicewander. I'm chair of the board, and I am also the host of Disability Week, which airs Mondays at 5:30.
I am Mark Nicewander. I am the secretary of the board and airshifter trainer.
I'm Nate Mandel. I'm a former board member, and I have stuff for your show.
Connie Hosier. I create the drop-in for hot flashes on the movies, and I do some airshifter training too.
I'm Paul Muth. I do several hours, News from Neptune, the radio edition. I rely on a lot of Pacifica Network for material. Also do a show called Window on the World, which is supposed to be more international. And I've been helping with the Friday Forum broadcast, which is on a hiatus. And there is an attempt to do some local origination programming in that slot and another slot when the forum comes back in the fall. So if you know anybody that wants to help with that, that would be a good thing. It's overlong, so I'll shut up now.
I'm Jack Whittup. I'm still a fairly new person around here.
I'm Barb from Dempsey Roberts. I'm part of the Women Making Waves Collective. I do not fight over the edge on Wednesdays from 10 to midnight. And I'm on the board, and on the executive committee of the board, and I'm the chair of the programming committee. So if you have a proposal, or if you want to do a show, or if you want to sub, or if you want to help out with programming in any way, shape, and or form, let me know.
I'm Gina Caruso. I'm part of the Women Making Waves Collective, and on Sundays on the read a couple times a month. I'm Renee Angela. I do Thursday morning historical. And I just want to tell you that Zach right here is part of CU Bands and Fans.
Yes.
And he is like a walking encyclopedia of music. So he didn't say enough about himself, so I was going to say it for you, Zach. Yeah, so that's just me.
I'm Fred Segovich on the Digital Library Committee, and I currently do the sound exchange report, and I'm also representing the Rock Library and some of the local libraries, some of the new Rock in the digital format.
I'm Angie Connor. I'm currently filling in the Friday morning mid slot, and I'm still getting my activity.
I'm Michael Hill, been in the town for all my life. I'm hopefully in the show sometime soon after we get some more sort of training. So,
That they said was interested in something, but I can't remember what. What are you interested in? Public affairs? Okay,
We
I
were
thought
getting
you
him up
were
with
interested in
Doug
something
Olive.
else. Huh?
We were getting him connected with Doug Olive.
yeah, I sat in with Doug Olive last Saturday.
Okay.
I'm Megan Rushing from the Office of Administrator.
I'm James Shear. I'm a new air shifter. I'm on the radio collective and field.
I'm Britta Langston. I alternate Fridays solo at Jazz, and I'm on the program committee.
I'm Ray Harris, I'm a former program. I've been with WEFT since 1983. Wow. It's something like that.
Doug Olive. I'm in the Grateful Dead Collective, the Weekend Heartbeat Collective, both of which could use a few new members. And I do Everyone's Dream Show, the West Courier. I am a PC.
I'm Rochelle, co-jazz genre director and co-host of Thursday and Tuesday Jazz.
Hi, I'm Andy Gupta. I host East Coast Zero Tuesday nights.
I'm Bill Wolf, I'm part of the Club for signing up.
Eric Robeson, I go by Dead Sterling on Circular Big Out Radio on Thursdays from 6 to 8.
Peter Mearsman, also known as the Red Baron, also on Circular Freakout 6 to 8 with this guy over here.
I'm Bill Saylor, Suffocation. Heading environmental.
And hello.
Eldris, Melinda.
Do you have a show, or are you into any particular thing?
I am Lady of the Services Coordinator.
And Bruce came in.
Bruce Zimmerman, I host Tuesday Beat Blunder, substitute here and there, work on the Digital Library Committee, and take care of operations, facilities, IT kinds of things.
In other words, he pulls our bacon out of the fire. A lot.
Did we miss anybody?
Nope, Stan Wagner's on the air.
Yeah, I heard him.
Yeah.
Just nice that you can.
On the way over. And I think I had him on the excused absence list. Maybe I didn't. No.
Did Andrew Cardinal contact you?
Pardon?
Andrew Cardinal had a word tonight. I don't know if he contacted you.
So we'll add Stan
But he messaged John and me a little while ago about that.
and Andrew.
And Adrian Lugo's got that stomach flu.
Yeah, I saw that. I pretty much, he didn't explicitly ask for an excused absence, but I took that as, I'm not going to be there.
It sounds like people are better about asking for them than they used to be.
Yeah.
Well, because I ask you to email me if you're not coming. And if you're most of us do stuff by email. And that works, but there are a few who don't. Or don't read their email, or use an address that's their junk email box. And so Lugo.
Stan and Adrian and who else?
Lugo.
Travis Hall also he's actually doing an event tonight at Super Creativity.
Who?
So, Travis Hall, he's,
Oh, okay.
so he's working, he actually let me know after I was going, and I'm not sure if he's the newest member, so I'm not
Well,
sure. If
okay, we're gonna be generous about
It's a matter, I just want to put that down, if you don't want to grant that, okay, I just want to let you know, like, I know where he is at work.
I do want to be as inclusive as possible, and if you can't be here, we don't want to, we're going to try to be more formal about attendance, volunteer commitment, and dues as we go on. I've got a spreadsheet now for keeping attendance. I used to just put the attendance sheets into the folder, and I found most of them and went through them and turned your entries into check marks where I could read them. I also made one slight change to the sign-up sheet. If you didn't notice, on the last column, it's optional, and if we've already got you if you're enrolled in WEFT-O or WEFT-A, you don't need to duplicate your address here unless you want email into your junk mailbox. Or if you, and I have the mailing list for the postcards, and I want to thank Lainey and Nate, who's not here, right?
Correct.
For their Herculean effort rather than my Herculean effort in producing the postcards and getting them into the mail. And we'll try to get that process a little more mechanized in the future. But my list has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, about 12 entries where we don't have a mailing address for the post office. And if you want to be added, a good place to indicate that address, if you can write legibly, is on these sign-up sheets. Or you can see me, or you can email me your address. Or you can look at my spreadsheet and write it in here. What I think we have your address.
Because I don't think I got one, but I did see the meeting.
So that's the sign-up sheets. Agenda, the green sheet. We're at the approval of the minutes item. Not the minutes. We're not going to do the minutes. The approval of the agenda itself. I left the air shifter contract discussion on here from last month just because I didn't notice that it was still there and didn't remove it, and we can approve it as is or delete it depending on whether you want to discuss it. Reports, voting. I think we're on the back of the green sheet is a somewhat updated list of elected offices for WEFT in 3 different groups: the Programming Committee, the Associates Executive Committee, and the Board of Directors. I think we're full up on associate elected board members at the present, so we are occasionally allowed to use the associates to elect a member-elected board, but I think we have no seats on the Board of Directors to elect. The Associates Executive Committee, we have no seats because we did that last month. And the Programming Committee, it looks like we're full up there too.
No.
But I stand to be corrected on that. Todd?
I wanted to ask about 3 things you said.
Oh, okay. Well, in the context of the agenda.
Right.
So I don't know that we have any voting to do.
Well, that's one of the things I wanted to ask about. Since nobody filed for the member election, it was my understanding that technically if somebody...
Technically, we could.
Okay, so it's possible.
So it is possible.
Okay.
It is possible, yes.
Yes.
Not ability.
And you said the programming committee is up to date on that?
Well, and then Barb said, nope.
Okay, that's what I was...
Denise's term is up tonight.
Aha.
But nobody's missing.
No, nobody's missing.
Okay, so there is a associate's elected seat.
When is Richard Bressler's term up?
Boy, you should have heard the part of my vocabulary that got used with
Maybe I
against
should have.
open office. Somehow the formatting of the sheet, I tried to delete the background color because that one cell was all blacked out. And now it's all perfectly clear. The type is invisible, the background is invisible. And
There is a little spot where you can change the color of the type.
there's several. It depends on whether you're changing it for the entire table. It's,
Do we have his date?
we do have that date, and
I want to note it on my sheet of paper.
okay, for the record, it's end of term is right now.
So 6/16.
6/16, I believe.
Okay, so we got two.
I think. Now I want to verify that.
On the board.
Pardon?
Andrew Cardinal and I were reelected to another term at the last associates meeting, so those should be updated.
Those, yeah, I thought I did that. Maybe those.
3/18?
Say that.
18. Except I should be writing it on my master copy, please. All right, so we have a bunch of amendments. Well, as far as the agenda is concerned, we have 0 seats for the AEC, 1 seat, 2 seats, 2 seats for programming committee, and for board of directors, we can fill 1 member.
That's correct.
One member elected seat if there is a nominee. Okay. Do we want to talk about the air shifter contract?
Yes.
I hear a yes.
I'll second that, yes.
I don't hear any groans. I hear Bruce.
Sorry, I didn't stand for re-election in the AEC.
You didn't?
I did not, so I'm not.
You're not, okay, so that's a correction to the facts. All right. So
we have one.
So now I'm entertaining a motion to approve the agenda as corrected.
Second.
You can second if you want.
No, I defer to you.
Who was the?
I've now moved 3 times.
Yeah, but you
If I
didn't have.
move one
you
more
didn't-
time, I'm gonna be out of Champaign altogether.
You didn't have anything to move on for 2 of those. No, there was, nothing was proposed, you just said, so
Okay.
moved.
So moved.
So
A motion to
moved.
move the agenda.
Great.
There wasn't a motion.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Point of, what exactly are the changes? Just the elections?
The number of seats available.
Okay. And
I'm
there-
leaving the air shifter in, the air shifter contract
And we're
discussion.
removing the approval of the minutes? Because
And
there's
we're
no
removing,
minutes?
yes, and we're removing the approval of the minutes. We're all clear on that, and everybody's still happy. And we can go on, well, reasonably happy. We can go on to the air shifter contract discussion. I heard a resounding yes from Todd. So would you please start?
Okay, the main reason I would like to either talk about it or hear about it tonight is I was the first one to submit a signed copy And at the following associates meeting, when it was read aloud, there were quite a few things read that were not in my copy. And pretty much every week for the past month, new things have been added that are not in the contract. And they might be covered under, miscellaneous or something.
SOPs.
But I wanted to ask about, if we signed a contract 3 months ago and there are 13 new things that weren't in there, do we need to sign again, or what's the deal?
Are you talking about procedures, or was it put in the contract after the contract went out? I know the contract needs some work still.
I'm saying since I signed the contract, airshifters have had quite a few responsibilities added or clarified, and a bunch of federal law stuff that was read as being in the contract wasn't broached. Obviously, we have to follow federal law. But I guess what I'm wondering is, did I just sign a draft, or is it being revisited, or?
Well, that's my fault, because I thought it was, I put it, there was one that we had that was there.
Right.
And I just put it out. I didn't try to rewrite it or anything. And it probably does need to be rewritten, which means basically that everybody is responsible for what's in the airshifter contract, whether you signed it or not. And then the stuff that has been added, you're responsible for. And what we are going to do, what we need to do, is have a list of all of those things that you're responsible for, whether it's in the contract or not. And it's basically understood that everybody who is on the air takes responsibility for those responsibilities. You do it, or you don't do it at left. It's one of those things. There's a lot of work that needs to be done with the programming committee, with the bylaws, with the standard operating procedure. I just sent Lainey a nice note talking about maybe making a programming committee handbook so people will know what's going on. And the thing is, whether you've signed a contract or not, there's stuff that just is part of the job of being an airshifter. And even though it's volunteer, being an airshifter is a job. It's a responsibility. It's something that y'all have agreed to by going on the air. So you can't just say, I'm not going to do X if X is part of the standard has been added to procedures.
Okay, Ed?
Well, I'll tell you, from listening to that, one thing I will say right now is I'm not going to sign any contract unless I know exactly what's in the contract.
Yes.
And I think being responsible for something that's undefined, unwritten down, is just a little bit over the top. I think you better just kind of go back to the contract, rewrite the contract, and make sure you got it right before anybody starts being signed and being held responsible for things that aren't written and haven't been decided.
That was my fault, and I totally agree. Now, I signed the contract. Actually, I don't think I even read it, but I signed it. But it does need to be read, it needs to be rewritten, it needs to be made clear to everybody, and that is on my agenda as chair of the programming committee, and I've got 2 people to help me.
Great.
So
And anybody else who wants to help, feel free to volunteer.
So actually, if people look through the contract and they have differences or comments, pro or negative to the contract themselves, that you will accept those suggestions?
Oh, hell yes.
Okay.
I will accept any suggestions, I will accept complaints, I will accept revisions, I will accept anything, and it will eventually be the way it's supposed to be.
Okay.
I have a suggestion. A lot of places I've worked at have required that I sign a piece of paper saying that I have received an employee policy manual. It's not a contract. But basically it says, I have received this manual and it's on me to read it and follow it. So I think that at the last associates meeting, actually I wasn't at that one, it was the one before, there was a lot of talk about this being a contract that was being imposed on people. And I'm not gonna sign a contract. And I hear what you're saying. I don't wanna sign a contract if I don't know what the hell I'm signing. But I would be willing to sign a piece of paper that says, I have received this employee handbook, and so it's just a suggestion.
Then
I've done it
maybe the
in
contract should
multiple
be-
places I've worked in.
Maybe the contract should be rewritten as a
handbook
as opposed to a real contract.
Something
Or
that
the
we would
contract should
have
be
to
much
refer
simpler.
to.
And if we need the paper trail for covering our organizational backside,
We've got,
I have signed contracts for half the people in here already. I have mine.
and I have, what I have winnowed down from a box that I got from Eunice. And there's a lot of stuff in it, a lot of outdated stuff. But we've got,
We've got to percolate the important things up to the top.
Yeah.
And not make it so onerous that we all want to go pay our lawyers, which was what Stan was talking about the last time I heard him.
Well,
Doug.
Well, with changing the wording to an agreement, be any more, give us any improved vibes about it, because, I think we have, by comparison, don't we have an associate agreement that people sign, or is that a contract?
I think it was called a contract.
I mean,
Much
clearly there are many things in the contract here that are good reminders to airshifters. There are things that we should have learned in airshifter training, but people like me, it's been over 12 years since I've been through that. So it's a good reminder to be, and it, maybe should be accessible on our website, I don't know, but things like getting a sub, not leaving the studio until provided for the next 2 hours of programming, and not leaving the studio unlocked. Those things are just good reminder. It's good to be reminded of, good to be aware of. Okay, so.
Ed, and then Britta.
Okay, that's not a contract. A contract has to be a little bit more specific, a little bit more simplified than a whole bunch of reminders. Now, I understand what you're saying, because I was looking through the list there, and what I'll try to do is I'll try to go through it myself and see the things I think should be in a contract and the things I should be in a manual. Because it looked to me like it was a lot of nitpicking on a lot of little things that really shouldn't be in a contract per se. But if we're considering it a work in progress, I can accept it pretty much as it is, as long as we are going to revisit it.
we're gonna fix it, and we're gonna look at the standard operating procedure and the bylaws. And it's a real pain in the ass to change bylaws, but I can change the standard operating procedure. The committee can change the standard operating procedure, I think. So we're gonna see what that says.
Okay, I don't like the slippery language and ambiguous attitude that the implication that there might be disciplinary action taken if somebody, doesn't hold up their agreement. I mean, if it was habitual, then maybe some committee ought to get together and decide. But, as somebody pointed out at the last board meeting I was at, that someone had been riding someone else's back because they were habitually late for their morning show. Well, to me, that just goes without saying. You cannot put up with habitual lateness, and it was correct for that person to ride that person in order to get them to stop it.
More discussion. Todd.
I realize I could discuss this privately later, but since I figure it concerns pretty much everyone here, The main concern I have that I hope the programming committee will take into consideration when revising this as soon as possible is I've heard people say, you know, I don't want to do Spinatron, I don't want to read underwriting. I've heard a bunch of things where it's just I don't feel like it. But I've also heard several people express concern, and this came up at the board meeting I attended recently, where airshifter requirements, some of them new, clash with the bylaws and or our operating license. And I guess I don't know what advice would be given to people that basically are conflicted between one set of orders and another set of orders.
You know, that's something that everybody here needs to talk about because it's a domino effect. And everybody here knows that the WEFT contradicts itself all over the place. And we really need to work on it, but do you know how long it would take to change, to fix the problems? And we need to fix them, but I agree with you.
Any other discussion?
I
Britta?
just want to mention, as long as we're thinking about it, it says to occasionally read that we're sponsored by the Illinois Arts Council. I didn't know that until I read this agreement, and also to shut the door to prevent, you know, outside noise.
Leaking onto
if you
the
haven't
air.
read it recently, it's great. We're talking about a good guy. It's just not.
Except for are we still, because we're not getting Illinois Arts Council anymore, so I don't know whether that's true or not.
We're not getting anything from the Arts Council?
That's not our, that's
No. But
Now, yeah, is it that just because of the budget
That's
passage?
exactly what it
Okay.
is. Yeah.
we should still
I
say
know,
that.
it might help just to
We should
continue to
still
read
do
it.
that eventually.
Okay, is there anything that the associates as a body formally want to do? I'm not hearing any motions, so we have an ongoing discussion and ongoing work. I encourage you to attend programming committee meetings. If you're concerned, or better yet, want to help forge a better document.
In other words, there's a request for input.
And Barb wants to say one more thing.
Okay, my email address is KittenT, or I think I've got a WebPC email address.
Programming@wef.org.
Programming@wef.org, but I don't think that's one I set up on Gmail.
Oh, probably not.
No.
Anyhow, I would love to have a programming listserv where people will have a positive discussion and let me know what I'm screwing up and let me know what things need to be done and what is being done well. So, if you want to get on, if you want to be part of the email list, I know everybody gets too much email, but if you want to be on the email list, email me at kittent@gmail.com and we'll get it set up.
Yeah, and Bruce and or I, and is there anybody else managing the lists?
I don't know, that's what I'm about to ask. I know that we've got WEFT Associate as the program.
Yeah, we
I
can
don't know if
go
it's still running.
fix it.
And I was gonna
if
say,
it's-
maybe, so we already have the address.
Right,
so-
and one other thing about the mailing list, it is possible to set up an alias, something or other at wef.org, and then have that forwarded to another mail address. I mean, I do that with, you can email me at feldman@wef.org, and it just comes to my regular inbox, maybe a day or two later.
I will talk to you just about that.
Okay, anything else on the contract discussion? If not, let's go on to reports from committees and the board. And let's start with the board.
I knew you'd do that. I want to look at people like this. So, I just have some positives to tell you about today, and we've been undergoing a lot of change over the last few months, and I know how how disconcerting that is for a lot of people. But I thought it might be helpful to hear some of the things that have happened that have been on the positive side. So a couple people have suggested things to me. I'm just going to read the list. First of all, I think all of you have noticed that the station is much cleaner and better organized than it has been, thanks to Megan and Lainey, our two new staff, so we thank them for that. As a result of having two staff, we have office hours coverage for more period of time during the day. So from at least 9 o'clock in the morning until sometimes after committee meetings at night. Another part of that is that our staff are attending committee meetings, which I think is really helpful as well, so that committees have a little bit of support there. We have active recruitment of volunteer commitments with our volunteer coordinator, so that's a big plus. We have our new grid postcards and underwriting packets and different options for underwriters to purchase at WEFT. We have increased underwriting numbers, and we have some things in our entryway, the sign-in logs for guests. If you haven't started using those yet, that's a great way to keep track of who's coming in and out of the door. So if you have somebody on the air, be sure that you have them sign in on that log. We have a condensed recycling area. Dave Monk and Lainey have been working together to make sure that we don't have multiple boxes there. We're down to 2 now, so there's more space in that area in the front. We ended our contract with Aramark. You have noticed paper towel roll in the bathroom. That was costing us $75 a month for that roll of disposable towels. We don't have that anymore, so that was a big plus. We have our board meetings, thanks to Andy, live broadcast and recording, and I think that has been a big plus as well. The WEFT Weekly Essentials is coming out weekly. I hope you're reading it. If not, there are all the copies printed in a binder, and those are right on the desk as you're walking into the station. The expanded UPTV connection, we have done WEFT sessions for a long time there. Now we're adding other programming, which is great. Let's see, podcasting. 2 new locally produced drop-ins and other programs at WEFT are now being podcast, available on a WEFT 90.1 iTunes page if you're interested in finding that. What else? Radio Free America, thanks to Bruce. Bruce got that going, and that has been great for people who want to hear programming off hours. Increased WEFT presence on YouTube. We have date sheets. Some people don't like them, but we had them for a long time, and I think it really helps when you're subbing a show, certainly, to have those date sheets in front of you so you know what you're supposed to be doing. 6 interns have been working with us over the past 6 months, doing some awesome things that are, you know, they're like slave labor, so it's a great thing to have them around. Public Relations Committee is back in business and doing some great stuff. We have an awesome operations manager, Bruce, who is doing all kinds of things to improve the station, both in the tech side and the mechanical side. And we're collaborating now with IMC and other organizations around town. Obviously we are, since we're here and using this space for free, which is great. And we have an increase in the number of younger trainees at the station. You might have seen a few notes going around today, some of the people who were just added to WEFT. So I think, you know, the challenges that we have are several, but I think we have a lot to celebrate over the last year, and I thank you all for supporting the changes that have happened. And I'll take any questions.
Yeah, I have a question about the essentials. Can associates submit material to that as well?
Absolutely.
Okay. So
Yeah.
how do they go about doing that?
Just send me whatever. Okay. It goes, I write the newsletter up Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday morning-ish. So as long as you get stuff to me before that, I will include it. And that goes for any committees, or if you have announcements as an individual air shifter that you'd like to put in.
Yeah, who runs the Facebook page?
You know, there are about a dozen people. who are administrators of the Facebook page, so I couldn't give you the exact list, but are you interested in?
Well, just because I will post what I'm gonna play on you know, on the page, but it never appears on the actual page. It's always like.
Okay, it's probably one of those things where it has to be okayed, but I
Right.
think that can be changed.
Okay.
Let me look at that and see
Okay.
if I can do that, because I know I'm an administrator.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, then.
All right. Next committee, what do we want? Programming committee? Or are you worn out? Have you rested?
I think that, the programming committee is pretty much done, except for if you do have a proposal. Laney told me that we're running short on program proposal sheets, so I'm tracking those down and we'll have copies of them. They should be in the blue binder that's back on the little mailbox thingy. And,
I'm pretty sure I have PDFs of those, but I'll make sure Laney gets them.
Okay.
What kind of slots are there?
Well, we've got, let's see, Monday Jazz is pretty much covered now. What did you ask me?
Go back and read your newsletter.
Yes. Any other programming committee discussion? Hearing none. Let's call building, engineering, all of that stuff operations, and ask Bruce to say something.
There's a bit of a smear between what I'm doing and digital library too, so there's some overlap.
Okay, we'll do them all.
We coordinate, but, let me talk about futures first. Current things we're working on to roll out is getting a speaker mounted on the front of the building and get our sound out on the street in front of the building. We are somewhat limited in loudness because we have an apartment right next door on the second floor, and that's the control rule in the city. But we're working on the parts of that, and so hopefully next month we'll get that out there. At this point, it's just going to be a single, mono speaker up there where our building intersects with Dave's in that corner up under the eave, and it will probably be on like 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. 8 to 8 or something like that. We'll just work with the timer to do that. Typically, there won't be anything for the person in the studio to have to do to make that operational. The other thing that's trickling to the foreground is the back studio improvement plan to turn it into production studio. I won't say much beyond that, just that we know that needs to happen, and we're going to work on it and improve it and make it a reliable second studio. As you might recall, I can't remember if we generally announced this or not, but we lost one of the power supplies in the transmitter 6 weeks ago or so. Those of you that have been around for a while know that that transmitter operated for 2 years down one power supply. It works at 100%. It has 4 power supplies. It works at 100% on 3. It actually has capability of a hot spare in there, but we didn't straight for that when we put the transmitter in. So it's doing fine, and we're just watching it for a while, and at some judicious point when the budget looks like it's the right time to spend $1,700, we'll get a replacement power supply for that. The stream that people listen to when they listen to us on the internet improved 33% about 4 weeks ago. So via streaming picked us up to 128 from 96, and they left the number of slots at 100. So, and for no increased cost. So that was a nice upgrade that we got, and it happened just before the Radio Free America rolled out, which was the goal, was to try and get that so that RFA would then be recording us at 128. And they have My feedback so far on RFA has been that generally it works pretty okay for folks. I made a few schedule errors early on that I think they're all corrected now. But if you're listening on a slower connection, like a phone or a DSL connection that's maybe not a good one, it may not be consistent. It may drop out now and then. But we will work with the developers. This is a beta product. It's not even rolled out full yet. It's for nonprofits, and they're willing to work with us to try and make it what we need it to be. And I always want to thank the people that clean the bathroom. I know not everybody signs the sheet when they do it, but my suggestion is, if you use the bathroom at WEFT at all, then take a turn now and then. There's probably 85 of us that use that building regularly, and once every couple months, if you clean it, that would be great. Everything's in there, including gloves that you might need to make a pass through there. Some people might have noticed, I took the banner down out of the studio the other day and put it into the Great Hall. We have another banner, and I'll put something back up in the studio. We've got enough video stuff going on now. It would be good to have the WEFT banner visible in both of those situations. That's probably
questions?
Bruce, we talked a little bit about the internet connection issues that I had a couple weeks ago. I was just wondering if you had a chance to.
I have not. I skipped over that. So we have flaky internet. We have flaky networking at WEFT internal to the building, particularly wireless. And I need to get on Comcast to ensure that they're giving us the business connection quality that we're paying for. But I know working with them in the past, they will want me to ensure that we've tested everything internal first to make sure that any deficiencies that we're seeing are in fact from their box out, and that we're not causing a problem internally. Bob and I are working on replacing the wireless router with a commercial grade unit, and we'll probably keep the old router as a smaller private network. So we'll have two networks in there. Most people will use one, the better one, but we'll keep the other one as a backup. And then we will also increase the capacity of the switch that we have there, where all the network parts connect together. That should take care of debugging stuff for the network. I'll say 2 weeks from now, maybe I'll have done enough of that I can then call Comcast and say, okay, give us some diagnostic runs on the connection to see. What happened was there were some significant dropouts on some of the recordings out to RFA, and so it just sounded like digital artifacts that are whole minutes are missing. And I've also heard that. We also have a problem. Fred collects a lot of the public affairs programs, but he has to take them home to upload them because uploading them from our building introduces defects in the files. And so we found out early on last year when we started doing this that the file size was just, we use FTP, which doesn't do error checking, which just fix it out there, broke it, basically. So anyway, we are aware there are networking deficiencies. We are aware that now and then people have to power cycle the wireless access point in order to get to free up connections. And we've got a plan to fix that.
Is there any digital library specific news?
A couple things. Fred has created the report. So when you all do Spinatron during the 2 weeks every quarter where you report the elapsed time, that ends up then a few weeks later with the digital library group creating a report that's turned in that helps generate data which determines royalties for artists. And that's why we're banging on you to actually fill out this stuff.
Do we know the next date coming up?
Say it.
The next time that's happening?
No, we haven't set that date. It'll be, yeah,
It's every quarter, so if we did it in April, we'll probably do it July and August, depending on vacation.
times.
We're trying to miss
People start.
holidays and stuff like that, so yeah, training.
The first half of next quarter, so.
So that's happening. Andy and Dave have been working on the archive, which spun off of digital library. That was part of the digital library committee, the archive work going on with the materials at this center. You might want to speak to that. What that is.
Bruce, can you use some last names? Can you use some last names when you refer to these?
Andy Eisen's me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And who's Fred?
Tim.
Oh, you're Fred.
We do need to develop a DMP for data management plan so that you all know what format to submit things in, like the speed and that type of thing, the basics. I think I'm going to work on this kind of making that whole streamline of that. That we discussed that at the last meeting. Anyway, setting that kind of policy makes it easier, like I said, for y'all to know when you've got stuff at home or you're burning stuff or trying to make stuff, what formats to make it compatible with the library that we've got.
So she and Dave are working hard to ensure that the 30-plus years of WEFT information becomes accessible to the public at large, probably through the Urbana Free Library, through the folks at the, or his name that
yeah. So actually, that's also another thing that we've been working on. The archive is the physical archive, which I still need to keep upstairs, so I can do more work on. But also been working on the digital aspects to make it more accessible. Hopefully, in the short term for y'all, in the long term, we're trying to make sure it's accessible for everyone. And we've investigated several different archives to figure out if we need to deposit the material, if we can no longer take care of the building. Right now, it's not being taken because the physical materials are kept upstairs in not a good location, and digital stuff it's very expensive keeping it for a long time. So should we need to have a place where we can still access things, but maybe more people can use them and find out what's about web, we're trying to look at locations to do so. So it looks like the Urbana Free provides way more access, and this free use of the materials encourages people to use things. Dave and I have been talking to Anka Voss, who's the head archivist over there, about that. She's very excited about the prospect too. So I think that we've kind of got a long-term solution for that, and then we're kind of working on short-term about how to get in the right format and the right shape.
What exactly is being archived?
Okay.
And from what time frames, et cetera? I mean, we don't really have recordings of back in 1980, 81, 82,
if we have anything that we have, we would like.
My
collecting policy is anything that we have, both physical as well as digital. Right now, I've been put a direct call for materials again, as I did before, because part of it we need to kind of set the groundwork. Because again, a lot of people have recordings of their shows, the personal recordings, and maybe over the last decades in different formats and different devices and that type of thing. So when we want them to copy it or bring it in, it makes it easier if we kind of tell them all, it has to be this speed or this, it has to be an MP3 of this type.
It would not only be recordings, but it would be things like paper stuff, photos that people might have of WEFT events and all that stuff as well.
Yeah, and for that, it is important then to know that materials may ultimately end up in the Urbana Free, so that if you deposit and thus give there's different arrangements you can make for your materials, whether it's you're deposited forever and you can essentially give up ownership, or if you want to be able to use them, but you still want to change ownership. So there's actually different agreements we can work out. So a good point about that type of thing. Particularly if you have artwork or something which you definitely want to retain ownership of that. There might be some digital reproductions or digital copies, so at least it's documented, there's record of your artwork, of your materials in the archive in some format. So talk to me if there's any physical kind of stuff, and some digital, and then some digital. Most
yeah, so this is early days. This is figuring out, how to make this happen, because
we have a legacy of material that degrades the longer we don't attend to it. And so the specifics aren't nailed down yet, but there are people working on figuring out how to approach it and start on that.
One last thing that kind of popped in my head just now was that we have this big, massive pile of reel-to-reel tapes upstairs, and that is the last part that we have of the original NFCB tape libraries. For a while, it was in this town. NFCB was kind of half located here for a while, and now I don't know what's happened, but we have a whole bunch of tapes that are quite unusual, but I have a feeling that if we're going to use those tapes, they're going to have to go through that whole process of baking them,
cleaning them,
to get the material to stick back on the medium, and then once they're done, they get tossed. More or less, I guess. From what I understand, it's kind of
that may be their decision whether they want to do that. I mean,
well, yeah, there's a question. Is that something we're going to contact NFCB about, or is that? And this might be something that's way down the road.
We've actually looked into the legality of Pacifica and those.
I don't think Pacifica has much to do with it. Well,
I know some of the materials on Pacifica.
Some of the material might be
so we actually already looked into the legality. I actually discussed that with Uncle Boss, and she'd actually sent me something, some official documents related to that. So actually, we're not as concerned about that. But we don't, while the grant that the group I worked with and then I ultimately wrote up for preservation, we had wanted to convert the reel-to-reels. Ultimately, if we're depositing something, we can just, as long as we describe it and say what's in this carton, you know, this many tapes of this many tapes of whatever, we can hand it off as such to Urbana. And if they would like to do it, or they have the equipment, the preservation, you know, abilities, then they can be able to work on the emulsification in some areas or that type of thing, respooling it and what.
Interesting. Thank you. Are there any other questions or operations in general? If not, I heard that there is a revived Public Relations Committee, and I would entertain a report.
James is, okay.
Sandra got a ring last meeting, you can pass me to her.
All right, well, yeah, so we've started having a PR committee again with a pretty strong focus starting off on tabling events, which Lee has been organizing and getting things going. I know she also needs hope at the Fuller Soda Festival this weekend, and we have some other upcoming stuff throughout the year as well. And at the same time, working with our interns from the University of Illinois and Parkland and such on getting our social media game up to snuff. So you've probably been seeing there's been a lot more activity. I don't know if anyone here's on Twitter, but James has taken over the Twitter account and has been doing a lot of fantastic posts on there. Whenever something goes out to WEFT or I hear of interviews and things, we've been sending them to him so that he can get them on there. We also have an Instagram account now, so we're on Instagram, and that also feeds into Twitter as well as our Facebook. So photos around the station, information on stuff that we have coming up, videos, really just anything that we can kind of connect the public on. And then, yeah, there'll be an ongoing program to kind of figure out what we want to do with Facebook a little bit. You know, we have a lot of people right now that are contributing to it, which is awesome. We need to also be putting more events on there. The events can be obviously things that are coming up, like our tabling events, or WEFT Fest or the Fall Pledge Drive, but we also really want to start getting airshifter and show information on those events as well. So that if someone has a special interview or something like that coming up, you know, a lot of people might not think to write it down in their daily planner, but if they say that they're interested, they just click that on Facebook, it's going to remind them about that show coming up, and they can hear it live, or they can go to Radio Free America and check it out another time. So we've really been focusing on social media, outreach to the community, and also planning for future events later this year.
Any questions? Thank you. I want to mention, I noticed that our interns have business cards. You can grab, they're at the station on the shelf, you can grab some. I put some in my wallet, so I.
That's because staff, not
Staff.
interns. Staff members.
Staff, oh, okay.
Now, is the phone number going to be?
It has been,
yeah.
Yes, so.
It's a major.
So I now know who the underwriting associate is.
That's Dylan, he's not
Dylan.
here tonight.
He's not here tonight, but I have his card. Did I miss any committees that want to report?
I might just on behalf of the music committee mention again,
Music committee.
we meet the third Monday, every Monday, 6:30 in Great Hall. We are principally the genre directors for the station and a few others. We're responsible for the processing and generating the music and putting it into the station for the air shifters. Also responsible for keeping the Great Hall CDs organized, managed, which includes culling. So you'll see that cart moving around by genre. And usually a notice goes out, make sure as that genre is colored, and you take a look at those CDs. If you want to put them back, that's all part of the process. Finally, we are devoting at least part of our time to a project a month, and one of those that we're looking at now is again getting all of this cold CDs organized into the attic so that we can find a way to dispose of those. So, third Monday of every month, 6:30 in the Great Hall.
Thank you.
When was it that the PR group meets?
We are Thursday, I think it's the second Thursday. of the
Second
month.
Thursday?
Yeah.
At the station?
Yep, at the station. Yeah, we'd love for people to come and give ideas and thoughts.
You said 6 o'clock? 5 o'clock?
Yes.
Okay, if there's no other reports, let's go on to our potential elections. We can fill a member-elected seat for the board of directors. Are there any nominations? Anyone wishing to? Going once, not expecting anyone to jump into the fray. Going twice.
You're going to hold your breath until they turn blue?
No.
A person may nominate themselves.
Indeed. Feel free to nominate yourself if you want us to elect you to a seat on the board. Silence. Okay. Let us go on to the programming committee. And I believe that Denise and Richard Wrestler's terms expired. Are either of them here?
No. I haven't talked to them to see if they want to continue, but if they want to continue, they're welcome.
That sounds almost like an invitation to acclamation.
Can we do that?
We could. It would be irregular.
You've been elected to the program.
Or we could remind them that they're officially expired and formally elect them or formally rerun it at the September meeting.
I think that would seem appropriate unless there's others that would actually like to join us right now, in which case, oh well.
Did you say not appropriate or appropriate?
Oh, appropriate. I think it'd be appropriate, assuming that there is no one currently here. There are like two things that we should still have.
Well, yes, that.
So we'll wait.
But yeah, let's wait to see if there's anyone that's interested.
Because their terms expire and because I'm noticing that there is no shortage of seats available, would it be more legal to, if they want to stay on, be elected by the board at the next meeting? Is that possible?
Well, that's a possibility as well.
I don't know if the 35-day, 21-day thing is necessary for them.
For the PC?
Yeah.
But
So I just suggest if there's no rigmarole, that if they want to stay on, they could just be affirmed. I mean, it doesn't seem likely that the board would say, no, you cannot continue. But then we wouldn't have to bend the rules.
In the absence of
Questions really, is there anybody here that wants to be on the programming committee?
that wants to take their seat,
If anybody wants to be on the programming committee, you could probably be elected, and then we can.
And if you're elected, that's good, because that will make us look like we've been
go
got people who want to be elected. But if you don't want to be elected, you can come to programming committee meetings anyhow and talk, or you just can't vote.
I'll just throw out again, if it weren't Tuesday, I'd run, but it's Tuesday.
So I hear no self-nominations or cross-nominations for the programming committee.
Is Denise gonna run again?
I don't know, I've never talked about that.
Or Richard.
Volunteers?
Or Richard.
Yeah, I think Rich is gonna run again, is gonna stay on the committee, because we were talking about working on documentation.
Yeah, okay. But you don't know whether Denise is.
I don't.
If we don't elect him tonight, he can go to the committee meetings, but he's not on the committee.
It's not a voting.
Unless he runs for a board election.
Well, they're.
See.
If they're meeting in the meantime, then that's not a good suggestion.
Right.
I think the issue probably is, why don't we just table it till September? And, you know, Barb can continue to accept their input.
So will that be between you and Robert?
And Britta.
And Britta, okay.
And to a certain extent, there will be a board meeting before the next meeting, so they can go to the board meeting and get elected there.
Well, that was what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Actually, could I just ask, depending on when you find out from them if they're interested, could there be a blast to WEFT where everybody will get it, that they did or did not want to stay on?
Maybe the WEFT Associate.
Yeah.
I guess one other question is there a quorum that's needed for the programming committee?
That's actually
Because if you're down to 2 people or 3 people.
That would require you look at remembering the bylaws, which I do not.
That might be a
It gets
problem.
into another thorny issue, which you've got to figure out a word or something, but.
Actually, it might be more into your SOP.
Yeah, I think it is.
Okay, because according to bylaws, the chair of the program committee is an associate.
And yeah, we did discuss,
So there's actually more
I
competition.
can be the chair of the
And,
programming committee, and I can tell people that.
yeah,
They want to be the chair of the programming committee, but I can't be, because I'm on the board.
We discussed this at the end of the last board meeting.
And
so I looked for what.
So technically we're.
The beloved tangled web weave.
Yes.
Actually discussed this.
Lady.
Sorry, I think I'm excited to say something. I've been working with our new trainees to really get them excited and get them into WEFT and get them to make show proposals. It's really hard to get them to continue that excitement and be really enthusiastic about the show if they show up to the community meeting and there's like no one there. So, you know, we need these new volunteers to keep WEFT going, keep WEFT great, so I need your guys' help to be there and to help encourage them. And, you know, I know everybody has a lot going on, but I'm just saying, you know, personal outreach, please, somebody step up so I can continue their excitement. There's 3 of them who want to propose shows this coming month. And Marvin and Robert and Britta sitting there. So
And our next meeting isn't until the 14th, so they can submit proposals and we can discuss it via email.
Right.
And if we need to call a quick meeting, we can go to the Esquire and have a quick meeting and so have to submit anything that they want.
Well, and anybody can come to a programming
Oh,
committee meeting
yeah.
and listen to a proposal and comment without being a member.
Okay, so we don't have any nominees tonight, self or otherwise. That leaves one other body that we can vote somebody in on, and that is the Associates Executive Committee. We do have one open seat. And so we would be filling a term until next March, because the entire 5 seats are renewed every March. Does anyone want to join us? We don't do a whole lot except run these meetings and some paperwork beforehand, but we're going to try to be doing more.
Get lists together.
Get lists together, make sure notices go out sooner, et cetera, et cetera. Anyone wish to become a member of the Associates Executive Committee? Going once, going twice, closed.
Is the voting for the program committee also done?
Pardon?
Can we still nominate for programming?
Programming?
Yeah.
Um,
And we just said,
we just said we don't have anybody
yeah.
new.
But I was going to nominate someone.
Pardon?
I was going to nominate someone for the position.
For the programming?
Yes, I thought you just finished the voting in the last meeting.
Oh. I did, but.
Oh.
I would like to formally request that we revisit programming committee in order for Andy to say what she wants to say.
Oh.
I'll second.
Second.
Thank you.
Anyone opposed?
Can I nominate someone now?
Go ahead.
I'd like to nominate. Would you like to do the nomination?
Yes, I will accept it.
So we have a candidate now.
For programming committee?
Yes.
You would like to be on the programming committee?
Yes.
Great. Do you want to address the assembled associates?
I think it's important as I knew, I think you, what is your title?
Board?
No, this young lady.
Oh, and lady.
Yeah, she was saying that it's important, since we have some new interns from the University of Illinois working with us now, and when they come, they want to see some people there, and to keep the enthusiasm. I think it's important. I'm very, very busy. However, I feel that we need to try to sacrifice, to try to make sure that we have a quorum here at the meetings. So since I said that I would do it, I would give my best to try to be there and do my best to do an excellent job. My background, as you know, educationally, I think I can do a good job there. I have an educational background, and I will do my best to give it all I have, if elected.
Any questions for the candidate?
Could I ask a question?
Please.
Just going into this, since you took attendance and all, what is the threshold needed for election?
That is a good question. And I haven't done that tally yet. And let me see if I can get the sense of the associates. I didn't print ballots either. Typically, when we do an election for a seat, we pass out paper ballots and they're tallied, and I can find some blank ones that we could use, but or we could just do a voice vote, which might be uncomfortable.
Yeah, I think we just tear up sheets of paper and just, we don't have an official form, we can just write it on a normal sheet of paper and then scratch we want. That's the next one. I've got plenty of printer paper if you use.
Oh, okay, yeah, why don't we do that?
How many people here are board members? 1, 2, 3, 4?
Well, let's.
We have 4 board members?
Well, some are not associates yet. But we're doing this on the honor system tonight, how many people consider themselves a voting associate?
Or you could just hand these out to people that are.
Yeah.
It might, I don't know.
And
You're asking for what? So you're asking-
if you think you're qualified to vote, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
you're
11, 12, 13, that's a quorum.
It's nice to finally find out what the quorum is.
Well,
Now that we're almost-
we don't want to raise the
more than
question.
halfway through the meeting.
Okay, so
Over there.
oh, did anyone second the nomination?
Oh, that was never asked, so not
I'll
yet.
second the nomination.
Okay, record that.
I'm glad we're satisfying the rules even if we're doing it out of order.
Yes. And, did we get ballot sheets?
Ballot sheets up here, please.
Yeah, the board, right at the end of it, I don't know if it's still.
It's not.
No, right now, I'm not.
Mike, would you like me to collect them?
If you would, please.
Is there a hat or something? There's a hat.
There's a hat.
Okay.
There's a hat.
It's relatively clean.
Pardon?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see it.
When you're done with your ballots, I guess I'm collecting.
So to be clear, we're voting for the program committee candidate.
Wait, you can't vote.
Oh, that's right.
I'm sure a lot of people would probably do that. I've already stopped one board member from voting, so.
Oh, good.
That was me, sorry.
Hopefully it was not
Oh,
You forgot. That's it on vinyl.
Hopefully it was not vinyl.
Oh, I thought you said hopefully it wasn't on vinyl. I thought that's really, yeah. Hi there.
Okay, all right, ladies, I'm out of here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Yeah, have a good one.
While ballots are being collected, tallied,
Yes.
I will go on to any open announcements.
Any other ballots? Any outstanding ballots? Going once, going twice? Okay, who's counting these with me?
Let's find someone. I'll find you a tally sheet.
Jermaine offered to hover over me like a vulture. I don't know if that counts.
Hey, Bill. Count the votes in?
You look thrilled.
So you'll stand there and.
Well, I was gonna make an announcement.
Oh, yes, please.
Yeah,
Okay, we're doing the announcement part of the agenda, and Todd has the floor.
okay, so, I am in the process of possibly bringing legendary folk singer-songwriter Ian Matthews and his music partner Andy Roberts to town. And I was just wondering if that would be something that the WEFT would be interested in supporting, helping support. I'm thinking about doing it here. I am on the committee for the IMC for their shows group. And Ian Matthews, if you guys don't know who he is, he was a founding member of Fairport Convention with Richard Thompson and Sandy Denny. And in the 70s, he had a big solo career. He had a couple of big hit songs. Shake It was a big hit in the late 70s. And in the early 70s, he had a hit song called Woodstock, which was a Joni Mitchell song. He was in the group's Matthews Southern Comfort. He was in Plain Song, which actually is who's touring. It's him and Andy Roberts. They were original members of Plain Song. Oh. They were original members of Plainsong back in 1972, and over the years they got back together, and they're touring the first time in America in over a decade. They live over in Europe now, and they're touring on a Richard Farina album that they've released, and it's gotten huge critical acclaim. So it's kind of a big deal, I think. I mean, I love the guy. So he's got tons of videos available on YouTube, and all of his music is out there.
What's the date?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
September 25th, which is a Sunday. And I was thinking about having 4 local singer-songwriters open and just do like a really brief, like 3 songs. 2 of them being their own originals, and then 1 being either an Ian Matthews or an Andy Roberts cover, which I'm a singer. So that's what I've got planned. It's September 25th, and it's either going to be here at the IMC, or I've got a couple of other ideas too, but I would really like to do it here, I think. The other options would be either the Rose Bowl, or I kind of think that Iron Post is either too small, and I don't know if Paul is up to doing the ticket price, which is going to be about $20. They're requesting a $500 guarantee, and a hotel room. So in all, it's going to cost about $600, which means we would have to bring in at least 30 people, which I think is doable because, yeah, I think it's Ian Matthews.
It's incredibly cheap.
Yeah, $20 is cheap, and $500 for them is incredible cheap.
Yeah.
So
This town can be kind of difficult for.
It's true,
It's
but.
definitely off the tour path.
it is. Well, yeah, but he's playing Carmel, Indiana, the night before. So
He's on a regular.
well, he's playing Chicago, and he's playing big cities too. But he's going around to some of the smaller towns. Yeah.
So what kind of support are you asking for from WEFT?
Well, I don't know as of yet. That's the thing. I'm going to talk to the Folk and Roots Festival also, and I don't know. I guess announcements and that kind of thing. And if it can be a fundraiser, I don't know as of yet how much we can, percentage-wise cut it down to, because of course the IMC is going to want some money too. So
it is in the middle of our pledge, or toward the end
it's
of our
the end of the pledge drive.
Yeah.
It's actually, the pledge drive stops the day before or something like
Well,
that.
we haven't really determined the date for sure yet, but yeah, it's going to be somewhere.
Yeah. Because I think were we doing the pledge drive on the 11th?
No, we decided not to because it's the 11th.
Yeah.
Okay. And what's the word too? Is anybody working on that committee? Because I would be more than welcome to.
Great. Yeah, 21st of June is our next meeting.
Okay.
So it's at 6 o'clock at the station. WEFT Fest / Fall Pledge Drive.
Is there a new date?
No, we haven't set a new date yet. I mean, I think we pretty much determined that the 11th wasn't going to fly. So that's fine.
And are we doing, because obviously Mike and Molly's is gone now.
Right.
So,
we're figuring it out. So yeah, please come.
Okay. 6 o'clock may be bad for me because that's about when I get off work. So I'll be late, but I'll be in.
We're going to have food.
That's out for me too. I'm celiac and diabetic, so that's out for me too.
The next meeting is when now?
The 21st.
21st of this month?
Yes.
Okay. Other open, more
so that's
questions
it.
for Todd?
Is
Other
anybody
open
have-
announcements? Laney, did you?
I have lots of volunteer opportunities for you guys if you want to sign up. This weekend we have the Homer Soda Fest. It's really requested that we do it, and now I'm struggling to get volunteers to do it. So if you can sign up, there's a few spots left that I think filled. So.
And that's to have an info table.
Yeah, of course. At the Soda Fest, we'll be pouring soda, talk about what there's going to be some passing stuff out, and mostly just putting our banner up and having a face there.
It's a lot of fun. Keeps busy.
Yeah.
Sugar. Any other announcements? Andy?
Thank you. I probably should have mentioned this in the board meeting, but we had discussed a little bit some of the concerns about underwriting. I've had very strong, I've not been airing underwriting, particularly the ones that I feel are definitely commercials. I know some other folks feel that there's the boundary between what's commercial and what's not commercial is kind of vague. So at the last board meeting, Andrew Cardinal, John Parker, and I will be doing a subcommittee. We've actually started working on it to set an absolute policy and also provide some examples as well, so we can kind of follow along and see if like this, we like this. I've done for the board, I've done a lot of research on FCC regulations, and it is gray in certain areas. So that's some of what some of the issues are. It's kind of legal. It's kind of like it's almost a matter of interpretation. And so that's what we're going to work will be the next month or two, revising those and putting out something so that you can all also see that. And if you have any comments, concerns about what they are, or you have, I don't know, if you want to have any feedback you want to give, it's John Parker, Andrew Cardinal. So you can send any of us an email, and we'll try to, and we'll address whatever you're concerned about or that you want to be addressed within the rating policy.
Thank you.
And it also come up about listservs and moderation. So I don't know if the associates meeting, there's been a lot of concern about listservs and discussion. I just wanted to bring up. So we don't want to talk about this at all. We had also resolved at the last board meeting that we would be trying to streamline certain communications on the listserv. At least WEFT O would be getting just organizational, like something's down, something like that. Particularly also because Bruce had mentioned it was very difficult when there's a lot of other things in the same list to kind of sift through that and find out what's necessary, like what does he need to know, what does he need to look for. And sometimes that's true also for the rest of us when you're just trying to find out if someone had gotten that sub or that kind of thing, just scrolling through a lot of extra stuff. So that has been set. Where everyone else's discussion goes beyond that, that's something that y'all need to help us decide. It's been proposed that there start a user group or something, but that would just be unofficial. But I mean, you could still always do that. We could revise WEFT A and just have that as it used to be and have discussion there. And if that's the case, do you want moderation or not? Because it has been definitely advocated the board that these things be moderated. So if you're in favor of moderation, that is fine. You might want to decide where you want, what policies you want about that, and then give the board some feedback on that. If you don't want moderation, also give the board some feedback about that as well. So we'll be working on that. I think next board meeting we'll be turning that.
Moderation of what?
The listserv.
The listserv. Okay.
Yes.
It's sort of like, I remember you saying listserv, and then I just got lost.
Yeah, a specific things WEFT O. But if WEFT A was revived as what it used to be, there's also some discussion of possibly moderating that. And mind that for language as well as other things. So this is why it might be good for you to get some feedback as far as what the policies are, how uncivil behavior is defined, how all these kind of things are worked out. So the board would love your feedback on any aspect of this. We are trying to address a lot of people's concerns about not the people listening to us, but also just there's drama, lots of toxicity, and all this type of thing. We're trying to address some of that, but we need your help on that as well.
If I could just piggyback on that, Andy, people are being bombarded with WEFT-O email, and so what's happening is all these people are kind of tuning out of WEFT-O, letting it go to their junk, whatever. So we're trying to figure out a way for people to be able to communicate and yet keep WEFT-O true to being an operational kind of information listserv, so that we're not, getting all this other stuff. So if you have ideas on how we can manage that, yes, we are very open to those.
I do have one potential idea. We could maybe have standard tags in subject lines, so that people can sort emails. For example, starting all sub requests with parentheses, sub parentheses, close parentheses, things like that might make things more organized but still in one email account as opposed to splitting up into multiple email accounts. Or maybe not, maybe multiple email accounts would be better for some things, but that just might be a good way to organize within one email account.
That just worked.
So if you need to email WEFTO to ask for a sub, you could always have that start with the beginning of your subject line always starts with parentheses sub and close parentheses. Or if you always have if you're messaging about an operational issue, you always start with open parentheses, opt, close parentheses. So that way those are always the same. You can find and you can sort through the different emails based on what they're about without having multiple email accounts.
Any other announcements? Thank you. We can go, Todd.
Are you looking for a motion to adjourn?
No.
Okay.
I have one more agenda item if we're done with the open announcement segment. And the last agenda item before adjournment is election results.
Oh, yes.
And we have elected Evelyn Underwood to the programming committee. Congratulations. And thank you. And now I'll accept motion to adjourn.
Sure.
Second.
One from Todd, a second from Connie, and all those opposed, do not leave.
They don't have
But I definitely would like to.
We can get away with not putting them up at the civic center because they have somebody hired to do that. Here, we do it.
So I didn't know if like should I give the time or okay, I was trying to think when you would be there, but if you couldn't.
Miss Barbara!
So Eddie and Dave sneaking in the road.
Pardon?
Eddie and Dave.
They're incompatible.
I like circle.
I do too, but since the chairs were set up by Lady and Dave, without having experienced prior meetings, they just set it up that way.
Really had to come in, it should be a corridor.
Pardon?
It should be a corridor, if they do that, it should be a corridor.
Yes.
So people can move around a little more.
Indeed.
Very good.
But, and this is a one-off, we'll be back in the September.
Why was it, they had something on there?
Yeah, event going on. I think it's a convention of food trucks or something.
You know,
decided do what we can to step to the place of this meeting. And we can get some more people. We get some more people. When they have called me afterwards, and she might. Why did you say something?
Well, her comment was real good.